Hey there, welcome back to Video Games Club Podcast, Episode 3. The game this week is called Saturnalia. Saturnalia is a dark and twisted detectives game where something's chasing you. There are definitely horror elements, but nothing too crazy in the footage of this podcast. Speaking of footage, because I chickened out and didn't actually play this game fully, the recording is going to be of my brother playing, while I was on a Discord call with him. If that affects the way you see this review or this podcast, so be it. But either way, let's get on with the show. Okay, today we're talking about Saturnalia, which, if you don't know, actually comes from a festival in... It's a Roman festival, an ancient Roman festival. This is where like the word comes from, because it's supposed to be a specific time of year whenever like Saturn is in a certain alignment in the sky, which actually tends to be right around December like 15th to the 23rd.
Yeah, it's basically Christmas.
Which is basically Christmas. And like if you actually look it up anymore, if you look into any sort of anything regarding the word Saturnalia, it does say basically this was Christmas without any like religious connotations. It has it's just the giving festival where you're supposed to like give gifts to everyone you know and like and then you're supposed to go and then you receive gifts and give gifts. So it's basically like our modern day Christmas, which is interesting. It's neat. This video game has nothing to do with that.
Not at all.
Not at all. Like holy smokes.
It is influenced by the folklore of Sardinia, though, so...
Yeah, well, that's... I mean, I guess that's, like... That's a place that the Romans did conquer at one point.
Which is kind of, like... Saturnalia is from...
Yeah,
So I guess it's kind of, you know, something like that.
We can talk about this in the story portion, but as far as I know, from what I saw, from when you were playing it, and other people I was looking at, it doesn't really, like, I don't know why it's called that. It doesn't really have any reason other than
the alignment of Saturn.
Yeah, like maybe I don't know. We'll go into it when we talk about the story. But yes, like you said, this is a game that is set in Sardinia in the 80s, the 1980s. It's about these, I guess, a few people go into this cursed town, a few of them when they shouldn't have. I think one of them or two of them
One of them, he was
there.
specifically told not to go to the town.
Right, and then another person, like, is dating a man. She's dating a man.
Well, no. What happened was, she's a geologist who went there to survey the mine.
Right.
And she fell in love with
She
one
got
of
into
the people there.
A relationship with the bell toller.
Has a child with him.
Right. And so you follow like these people, and then you also meet people that they also know. Two people who live there. One person who parents own a bar that you go to for various tasks, and another person whose father was somebody who worked in the mines, and he's just like he's abusing his father's drugs for various reasons.
I don't think he lived there the whole time. I think he came back to live there for some reason. I don't remember. Right,
to take care of his dad or something like that.
I think so.
He's in an iron lung, which is just that big contraption, that big barrel contraption where he's just like hanging out.
Yep, you can't really do anything or go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because of course, he worked in a mine.
Yeah, he worked in a mine. That happened, especially back then. You work in the mine for 40 years, suddenly your lungs don't work so great.
Can't breathe, yeah.
So that's sort of like the premise that we're going with. It's extremely cursed.
It is a horror game.
Yes, it's a horror game.
That.
The first thing I thought of whenever I started it up was like, this game is extremely stylistic with some not like references, but inspiration from it feels like Silent Hill, even though I've never played that game either.
Yeah, I haven't played that either.
But what it feels like is like you're going to a place to figure out what's wrong with it, which I'm pretty sure is like very Silent Hill-esque.
Yeah.
Or is it Resident Evil? No, I don't think it's Resident Evil. I think it's Silent Hill.
I assume that's what Paul, the one who was told not to go, why he went was because it's like, why am I not told not to go? What's wrong with this town?
Right.
What the heck? What's going on?
Yeah,
and he finds out. He finds out for sure.
And so, yeah, it is Silent Hill. So, like, Silent Hill 2, as far as I know, is the one that our dear friend talks about a lot with James. As the main character, he gets like a letter from his wife who had died, and she's like, "Oh yeah, don't come to Silent Hill." And he's like, "I'm gonna go to Silent Hill," and like, obviously Silent Hill is like super cursed as well, and so like you basically spend the entire time trying to figure out what's going on with that. But what happens in this particular town is that like some ritual has happened to create or allow the infestation of this demon called I believe it was the Amutatore.
Amutatore.
I mean, it's Italian, so I assume you pronounce everything. But
Amutatore.
Which we looked up to when we were talking. I looked it up, and it was essentially they said that it's
You said it was
similar to
basically a sleep paralysis demon.
Yeah, similar to the Roman. It's either the Greek or Roman nightmare. I don't remember which one it was, but which is it amounts to the sleep paralysis demon, where they sit on your chest and stare into your eyes while you're asleep. And so this except
this one is doesn't just do
asleep. That. You're very much awake in this game.
Very much awake.
And so you are trying to avoid this creature in the game. That's like the primary horror element, I suppose you could say, other than a lot of the just ambient sounds and atmospheric horror of the general area with the art style and the fact that
it's nighttime the whole time.
Yeah, it's like nighttime the whole time. You can barely see anything, and if you get too dark, you've got to like light a match that only lasts for a little bit of time, and blah blah blah.
Nobody's ever heard of a flashlight,
right?
But I guess it was set in the 80s.
I mean, it's the 80s. Like, come on, they got flashlights in the 80s. Hello?
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway,
what the heck?
They'd rather you find little matchboxes instead of batteries for your lights. So
yeah,
I mean, so what did you think of like the general atmosphere of the game, the gameplay elements? Which
it was definitely
with the clues.
The gameplay elements. First off, I'm gonna start you're in the town, right? And the first thing the game asks you when you start a game is what difficulty you want, basically. And that's basically like the normal is like whenever you get a game over, the town reshuffles and you lose all your tools and consumables. So that's the mode I played on. So it was like pretty much like because it was all dark and stuff, you didn't know where you were going most of the time.
Well, and all the houses look all the same.
They do. They look the same. I mean, there was a bunch of landmarks. You could figure it out.
Right.
But like it was mostly a maze.
Yeah.
So it's like, but like eventually you could figure out where stuff is if you played the same map long enough. Which I did for a while until I.
What about 80% of the game that you played?
80% of the game until I got a game over because too many things happened at once.
Yeah.
And then the town reshuffled and I had to find everything again.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that was okay. It's basically If you get far enough into the game, that's basically you have no like penalty for getting a game over, basically. Because later in the game you get access to the villa's like basement
Right.
door,
Which has all your tools.
Has all the tools in it.
Yeah.
So once you get that, it's like if you get a game over, just the place shuffles. So you just find your way around again. You're lost the whole time anyway.
Right.
And then what I think what it was is I'm not sure if the creature actually like patrols around, or if he just like
goes towards
intermittent
sounds.
He definitely goes towards sound, but intermittent time that you get like him near you is like an encounter.
Oh, like, are you saying I guess the best way I can use to describe this is like maybe a phasmophobia type like attack.
Kind of.
I don't know if that's even right.
It's like there's an X amount of time between encounters, you know? Either that or it's the like he's actually patrolling around. But I didn't actually see him patrolling around really, the creature.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure about that.
I'm not really sure, but either way, there wasn't really any jump scares. It's not that kind of game.
Yeah, it's definitely an atmospheric horror.
Definitely
for sure.
like this thing's chasing you. Don't go near it, or else you get caught.
Yeah, or else you, like, and so I'll say with that, like, you get 4 characters, and if they get caught, you can go free them.
You can free them. Yes.
Although if you get like if there's one person that's caught already, the next person will just die.
I think the next person, the person that was caught first will die. Yes.
Yeah, and then
I found that out the hard way.
Which is why it was like a cascading effect for you.
Yeah, which is what led me to the first game over. Because I neglected to save the first person because it's like, oh yeah, it's fine. And then I got caught somehow. And and then that first person died. And then for some reason I couldn't save the second person.
Oh yeah, because they were masked or something. Yeah, it's a weird situation. But
no. The first time was when I blew up the bakery again. I walked in there and burned to death, which was real funny.
Well, it
shouldn't be funny, but it was like
that situation. Maybe I'll edit it into the video, but like that was because I recorded all that. When we were playing together.
I wasn't sure if you were or not, but that part was
insane.
One of the best parts.
Oh my gosh. Like, because at some point you can like, there's a burned bakery, and for some reason there's an option where you can just blow it up again.
Well,
and then for story reasons, we won't get into it, but like you can blow it up again. So we're like, why not?
Why not?
We're gonna try and see what happens when you do this. And so you do, and then like
the creature is just standing in it.
The creature's just standing in it, and you like walked in to see what was happening, and then like screen turns red, and you died, and you're like,
it like went red and blank screen.
You just die. Okay, like, I mean, that makes sense.
This must be a cutscene or something, because the creature was just standing there doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this must be like a cutscene or something. And it was, but of the character dying.
Yeah. So. And I mean, it makes sense. Like, don't walk into a building that's just been like recently exploded. I don't know why that's so hard to understand for us, but you know. But yeah, it was that was definitely
the game let me walk in there. So
it was definitely an interesting experience, I suppose. No, but the way that the game is played is you get this sort of map where your primary objective is to get out of the town. And then
pretty much
branching off from that, you get like little nodes that are characters. You get little nodes that are like clues for what that person did, about them, a picture, where they live, blah, blah, blah. All these different informational nodes. And then some nodes are missions where you have to go and like resolve something.
Go do something, yeah.
Right. And then that's like that's like the primary gameplay is like exploration and detective work is the best way I can put it.
It is detective.
It's not
work.
a bad, like I'd say
it's
what I understood,
bad.
from what I understood, about 75% of the game was probably pretty okay to experience. It just got to where it sounded like toward the end of the game, it became a struggle session because you needed to go in like 3 places and the monster was just there and you just kept...
Yeah, it became like this really large fetch quest.
Yeah.
Like you have to go there and do that, but like the creature will just get in your way, and it's just like, can I just go and do this, please? I'm so close, and you need to just get away from me.
Much less scary and much more just like...
And then you have to like sit there and wait in a hiding spot, or like whenever the music for the encounter would start, you're just like standing in this corner, not looking at him, and he goes away. Like literally, you hold a button to cover your eyes, and that was one of the ways you would not get caught.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not looking at you. You can't catch me.
So would you say that like it just like it turned into less of a horror game or of a like being chased game and more of a like, just like go away monster, you're boring?
Pretty much.
Because like, I mean, obviously there are quote stakes because your character could
your character will get caught, but like then there was almost no penalty for releasing your character,
right?
Because like you can cut the chain that they're like chained up with.
Yeah, you can free them
to a bell. It would technically call the creature to you, but like
just run away.
You just run.
Yeah. So
go to the safe place.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of game doesn't really like do anything for me. I'm not really it doesn't really excite me in the terms of
you're not really
like,
a horror game kind of person
well,
anyway,
even like horror games, but like I'm just saying, like even if we stripped the horror element out of it,
and it
where
would
it's
be like a detective.
All right, go do this, and then this leads to this, and this leads to this.
I mean, to be fair, the stuff did lead to it. I was putting it together as it was going on, so it wasn't that bad. Because like sometimes though it was like, you know, a few of them where it was like, oh, I went to this place, found these clues, and then I went back to the villa, and then it's just like, oh crap, there's a few things in that place that I have to go back to find that I've missed.
Well, the thing was for me is in these type of games, almost always is it like, unless it's written like super well, and this I don't know if it was like, if it wasn't long enough to be like good in that regard, or if like maybe I missed something. I probably missed something. This is probably a me thing because I didn't personally play the game because I tend to have horrible reactions to atmospheric horror. I'll be the first one to stick my hand up and say, yep, too chicken shit to play games like this. Okay, I'm not gonna try and make excuses, but there were times when I was watching you play where like you would find the most innocuous clue, and then a character would just like come to this insane conclusion, and you're like, what do you mean, dude? How did you pull this out of your ass?
The one like so close to the beginning where I'm sure you remember the one.
Claudia found an item, and then she's like, oh yeah, this guy's dad is probably the monster, and we were both like huh?
What?
Yeah, we were like,
how do you come to that conclusion? Like, what?
And why do you think that? It was never explained. They never, and then
she might have like seen a picture of it because Paul takes a picture of the creature, so it's like maybe she just they look similar. I don't know.
Yeah, but like there was nothing to that point in that storyline.
I don't know if that's going to be in the recording because you said you recorded it.
I think I recorded that too, but like there was nothing in that point in the game that I had seen that would lead her, a person who was not even aware of this creature's existence, to be like, oh yeah, that's your dad.
Yeah.
But wait, are you saying that the creature's actually just a human with a mask, a supernatural mask on? I don't know. They didn't explain it further. That's just what she said. She just came to that conclusion for no reason.
for
it was so strange.
basically no reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was no other evidence to prove that yet.
Yeah. She like looked in somebody's locker and then she's like, "Oh yeah, that's your dad." It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, whatever, dude.
I
But
mean,
yeah, like that's
it might have
kind of
been. It might have been. I don't know, because I think what had happened was when we got the like badge off of the well,
Mhm.
and then used that when we find that we needed to open that person's locker.
Oh yeah, that's right. Maybe
That was
that's
when she
why
said
she
it.
did
So
it.
I think it was like I think we may have like skipped it, and to us it seemed like it was for no reason. But I think at that point,
There might
how
have
we
been
how we
something
like
that we read out of order or something.
yeah, something, and then that would be what the the character is supposed to say in that
Conclusion.
instance.
Yeah.
But to us, it
But
made
I
no
don't know.
sense why she would say that.
That just seems to be like for these sort of like find clue, gain conclusion type objective games of detective work seems to be
Yeah, that was a full sentence.
Yeah, that's correct. That seems to be a common thing that happens because like
Yeah,
the writer of the game and the story and like what individual snippets you're given at what points is assuming a lot about what the character has either done or will, like what their conclusions that they will draw. They're assuming a lot about the player, which is
yeah,
it's not a bad thing to assume the player can put these things together. But like sometimes you miss. You know what I mean?
yeah. Sometimes you miss.
And like it's a part of the like storytelling style that I just don't really jive with because
Yeah, I mean the rest of the
Yeah.
like clue stuff kind of made sense, but there was a few clues that were just like why did this go into my clue book?
Yeah. Or like why did you come to
Like,
this conclusion? Like what
yeah,
led
why
you to believe this?
why did like you can click on a lot of different like things that you could click on would go into your clue book, and it's like why
Yeah, I don't know. But
why do I care about this thing that you just took a picture of?
yeah, I mean, so like all said and done,
Yeah,
I would say that the atmosphere is really good for a
Yeah,
horror game.
for a
I
horror.
would say that the camera is horrible. We didn't talk about the camera, but listen,
oh man,
if
the
you're watching this on
camera-
YouTube, if you're listening to this on YouTube,
Oh,
I'm going to
please.
put so many examples visually of the camera just doing wild things.
The camera was so bad.
The storytelling aspects and methods through all the clues, it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. No, I
The fact
agree.
that this game was built by what, like a team of like 5 or 10 people, it was fantastic.
Yeah,
like
and I think a lot of
it's-
Kickstarters.
I think it did a really good job from that aspect. But well, let's sort of get into the story of it because
Oh, there's DLC. God,
from what I
wait,
understand,
that's soundtrack and art book. Never mind.
from what I understand, you experienced the entire thing from start to finish. I did not. I just kind of picked up snippets from what I played with you
Yeah.
and then other videos.
Mhm.
This story is I don't know how to say, but like kind of wonky.
It's yeah. So what I gather was these workers in the mine, I think, were going to start a union,
Right.
and um, well, in the mine, they or like obviously the whoever is the larger people didn't want the people to start the union.
Yeah,
The
like the
miners to start a
managers and
union.
stuff. They
So
wanted to stamp down on the
they-
union as normally
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. So I think what happened was the guy who wanted to start the union, who was like rounding up the people to start the union, got murdered.
Okay.
So because I found that out, yeah, I got that story. I did that whole storyline or that whole quest line, and found out that well, yeah, I had to because that
It's
how I
part of
beat
the
the
thing,
game.
yeah.
Surprisingly, annoyingly, I should say, the Because what happened was he got murdered, and it was actually one of the people, I think, who he was conspiring with to start the Union,
Mm-hmm.
I think. And there was also this ritual, as we
Right.
stated earlier, that was going on underneath the mine, or in the mine,
Right.
for
Like
Saturnalia.
deep in the mine.
Yeah, and it was like this demon would like possess people. So I think the lady who you talk to throughout the game, her sister got possessed
Okay.
a while ago, and she killed the guy who was starting the Union because they both were trying to destroy the creature.
Okay. Okay, so
But
wait. So what you're saying is like what
I
was
think
there a
that
relationship between like who did the
I mean,
ritual and like the Union starting, or did they not really
I
specify?
don't know. They didn't specify that. I think the ritual is just like a thing they do that for the year, like
Somebody
during
did.
this. That was what their like yearly thing was for Saturnalia. Instead of the whole
Gotcha.
gift giving thing, it was like they did this ritual to whoever.
Right. Okay. And so and then that created like this created like
Yeah,
the creature who was I guess possessing people is the best way I can put it. And then
yeah,
that is what sort of killed like loads of people, it feels like.
yeah. It feels like
Um and then like dragging their corpses back to its nest,
um,
eating them. But and like
yeah.
it feels like nobody knows in this
Nobody knows.
town
No,
like what
yeah,
is actually happening, because they keep asking you like, hey, can you find out what happened to my sister? Hey, can you find out what happened to this person? Find out what happened to this person.
because I don't know who. I don't actually remember who started the ritual or something, or
Right. Yeah. No, I don't know.
because I think it was just a thing that they like unearthed when they were mining,
Right. And so
and it
like,
started happening.
but okay, so this is the amount of information that I know. That's what you just said is seems to be how much I figured out just from like context clues and all that stuff. And
Yeah,
then after that, there's just a lot of like, okay, so why does this matter to me? And then because you're trying to leave, right?
pretty
You're trying to
much.
get out of
Yeah,
the
you're just
town
like,
because
why do I
this
care?
thing's trying to kill you, right? And trying to like eat you or whatever. But like there's so many times where you're like, okay, so what?
Yeah,
So what? So who cares? Like this place is messed up. And then I think at some point, I don't know when it was, so you'll have to fill in. You find out that like you can stop the ritual, and you can destroy the ritual by flooding the mines.
yeah,
And so like that is an ending.
yeah. That's the ending I got.
Okay. And so like what is it, at what point is it that you can learn, oh, I can essentially decurse this town or save this place
Yeah,
by destroying the
whatever
ritual
ritual is in the
thing in the
mines.
mines by flooding it? What leads you to that place?
Um. Well, I mean, you find the fact that Bruno, who I think was one of the playable characters' brother, who also owned, I think, the castle.
Okay.
So you find him murdered,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you find out that the lady you've been talking with did it, and then she gives you the key to flood the mines.
And she just says like, if you flood the mines, it'll stop the thing. Like,
Yeah, pretty
really?
much.
She just says that.
I mean, she also does admit to killing Bruno.
Well, okay, but who cares? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
that sounds really
that's
callous.
not what I don't really
Like,
care
listen,
about that.
if
It's like I
I'm in a
just wanna,
horror movie, right, and I'm in a like trapped in a town where I literally can't leave, through the place that I came in, because you come in from a car and you can't leave through that same
Yeah.
like
The
bridge.
gate gets blocked off.
Yeah, and so like if I'm literally like supernaturally trapped in this place, and this person's like, "Oops, I killed somebody with a gun like months ago." But what
just don't care.
What you're
about
telling
that
me
person.
is that there's a supernatural creature out there that is like trying to kill me and is stalking me in this town. I just don't care. like I'm sorry that happened to you, because like clearly you guys, even though you guys were fighting, you guys weren't like trying to murder each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was several storylines because I think there was the whole Mara
Oh yeah, the
story
one girl's
too,
sister
with
had.
no, Claudia's aunt.
Oh, it's her aunt. That's right.
Which
She was
I think
troubled, and she ended up.
she was troubled. She got married, and I think she hung herself.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. At the tree.
I didn't finish that quest line, but it was like I did find the tree, and yeah, I mean there was no corpse, but
Well, they'd already.
there
buried
was
her.
remnants of like rope.
Yeah.
And it was and it was like stuff like that, but like I didn't care to finish that.
Yeah. Well, and
that quest line.
That's sort of the like dysfunctional storytelling element for me. Like I feel like I shouldn't be saying this because I never actually played the game, but just from what every bit that I could find on this game, it just feels like the storytelling is dysfunctional. There's no there's no reason why you should care about this. They don't make you inspired to want to care about anything because of the reason why you're in this game, because it's a horror game, because you're being chased. Like if there was no oh, I'm being chased factor, and you could just go in and explore these people's stories and like figure out why this town is messed up, not because of a creature, but because like a couple murders happened here, and you weren't just like a random townsfolk person returning after many years because of reasons,
I mean, I think again there was a separate one that was because back to we mentioned the bakery, and one of the player characters' parents, I think, owned the bakery, and they died in
the fire.
Huh. Either that or it was just the mom or something, because one of the player characters' dad is the creature that's chasing you.
Right.
He becomes the creature.
That's Paul.
So Paul's dad.
Yeah.
Who was one of the miners.
Right.
And so he becomes the creature somehow. I don't know if he died and then became the creature or what.
Or he became the creature because of somebody else. Which is possible. Because
previously the creature was the lady you talked to's sister.
Right.
And the reason why she didn't, because she and Bruno had the ability to kill the creature a long time ago, but she didn't because she saw her sister. Because her sister was the creature. And I think she killed Bruno to stop him from doing it.
Right. Well, but that part makes sense, right? Because it's a pretty common trope in a lot of like body snatcher movies and stories where like they snatch they wear the face of
a loved one,
and then they can get away with doing whatever they want because the person who I guess is like designed to take them out or is destined to handle them or is in the position to stop them
to do it
can only see the face of their loved one. And that's a pretty common trope. But the thing was like only one of your characters had that tie. Okay. That's fine. Yeah. Cool. You weren't forced into playing that person. If you were, it would be more compelling. But you could play as the first girl, who I can't remember her name. Anita. Okay, yeah, Anita, who was in the town because of her lover.
Her job too.
Her job too, but like her lover basically was the main reason, because like obviously like she might have had a job, but she might have also taken that job knowing that her lover was living there
Yeah,
blah
I
blah
know.
blah
I
blah.
think
It doesn't
I
really
think
matter too much.
they explained that at the beginning that she found him while she was in the town.
Yeah.
So
And so like there's very little like very impactful through line there where like sure you want to cleanse this town, you want to save everybody in it because you were trapped there and you had to like go through trauma bonding with all these random people. Cool.
that's basically what you had to do to get out in the first place.
But
it's like if you want to get out, you have to save the town. So,
yeah, but like the initial motivation for these people ends up being, oh, I don't want to die. And like that really puts a damper on like a lot of your environmental storytellings because it all just devolves back to cool, why do I care?
How does this help me not die?
Yeah. So I don't know. It feels very dysfunctional. I don't know if you felt the same way. I feel like maybe it's just me writer brained whenever I go into games like this.
Yeah, it was a little dysfunctional, but I mean, some of the things connected, some of the things didn't. I mean, I think everything was connected in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, a lot of the stuff is like, why do I care?
How does this help me leave?
A lot of the stuff was also like, okay, I gotta do this to get this to do this.
But it doesn't tell you.
And I find this out, Well,
I think the best example of that was like, you found the body of that guy, but then it was like, oh, he was killed by a gunshot, and not by the creature. And so you go, okay, so I need to find this gun. Whenever
so it's like go find the gun. And I didn't find the gun for a long time, and I had found the like way to flood the thing, and it was like, you need a key.
Yeah. Well, and I remember
talk to the lady about the key, and then it's like you talk to her about something else, and then it's like, okay, I happen to randomly find the gun, and then it's like, oh my gosh, this person did kill this guy, kill Bruno.
Right. Well, I remember when we found
you talk to her, and she's like, yeah, I did do it. Here's the key to the old dam to flood it. It's like, what?
Okay.
Do it. You can do it. I believe. I couldn't do it because it was wearing the face of my sister, and that was pretty much what happened.
It's like, first of all, lady, why didn't you say this up front? But like, second of all,
how did this finding the gun lead to me getting that?
Well, and like, I remember whenever it was like, oh, this guy's dead, that sucks. Oh, but he was killed by a gun. Now we have to find the gun. And I'm like, why do we need to find the gun?
Why do we need to find the gun? Who cares?
Why does that matter? But then it ends up being the crucial clue, because the only way you can flood the mines is because the person who you have to accuse for some reason, exactly what you just said a minute ago.
Confront her about it. And she gives you the key to the mines. Why she had that in the first place was because they were the ones who were able to do it
before. Yeah.
As I said before, she killed Bruno because to stop him from destroying the creature, which was her sister.
I don't know. If you weren't, I feel, as weird as it sounds, if your characters weren't so intrinsically tied with these people, and it was just like you came in because you were a random person, or you were like, I'm a detective from out of town, and I'm vacationing in this city because I like ghost stories or some shit. I don't know. And you were a detective, and like you had some motivation for wanting to know about like why these people did all these things that they did. Way more compelling. Or you were forced to play Paul the whole time because they're connected.
I think that's kind of how Paul was. Is he came here because he was told not to, so he's like, "What's up?"
Yeah. Well, and that's so much better. But like all these other stories, I don't care. They don't feel compelling.
Just whatever. Claudia was pressured by her dad, or like, that's not pressured's not the right word. It's like she was trapped by her dad, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes sense because her dad was kind of insane and didn't want to leave the house. He's kind of like, you can't leave the house. I can't leave the house. There's some bad things going on out there. I want to protect you, and you're gonna get protected whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was one of the bad things about playing Claudia, is because you could get caught by not only the creature but also Claudia's dad.
Just at any
So
time.
it was
It's
like,
very awkward.
and you just get like soft locked into the house almost.
Yeah.
What you had to do is basically once you got caught, you had to like quickly run to the door and run out to get
Out
away,
of his
or
range, yeah.
else he would walk. If you stayed in the house, he would walk into the front of the door and you wouldn't get out. You can't get out.
Oh wow. Weird.
Literally, there was no way out of that house.
Huh.
Once he walked in front of the door.
Strange.
Like,
All right. Well,
I sat there for like 10 to 15 minutes, just like, what do I do? How do I get out of this? What the heck?
Yeah.
And I had to like save quit and go back into the game for it to like reload me back outside to a previous save.
Weird.
Basically.
That's crazy.
Like,
that's kind of weird design. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, once I figured out that you run out of the house quickly,
not hard.
Not get caught by him again. I also just didn't really play Claudia all that much.
Unless you had to because of
I had to
squeezing
because
by.
Yeah, which I actually needed to find the gun.
Yeah. All right. Well, this game.
Before
we wrap
up, the end sequence. When I clicked the flood button, it was like it was like a chase. It was like a
it was like a final chase scene.
A final chase sequence. I had to run from where, because
I'm aware of where all that was.
I couldn't click the button. Or I know that I couldn't click you had to call
all the other people.
Monorail first, but then you had to either gather everyone to the monorail or to the button that floods the dam.
Right.
Or floods the mines.
Right.
So it was like a final chase sequence while you're running through like the tunnels and water.
The flooding tunnels and stuff, yeah.
And that was probably the scariest part.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like if there were sections that were like you did a thing, you got trapped and you now had to like escape peppered throughout the game instead of just like a wandering creature that every once in a while would like oh man, now I'm stuck
around you
like,
for a bit.
This sucks. Kind of just like barely inconvenience you a little bit just to make your like life a little harder. This game would be so much scarier.
Yeah.
Even though like
agreed.
I say that as somebody who was like shitting their pants the entire time.
No, I agree. it was a little scary. The atmosphere was good, was correct. It was a horror atmosphere, but it just, to me, it wasn't really that scary because there was no like pressure. Yeah, it wasn't really like a pressure to
So, but yeah,
it was.
If you like atmospheric detective quests made by a small indie team with extremely compelling art styles, Saturnalia is for you. You can buy it on only Epic Games right now. I think it's coming out on Steam soon as of...
I mean, if you want to play it and
August
try to make sense of the story better than we did,
by all means.
Then by all means do it, because I probably didn't explain it very well either.
Well,
but that was what I remember.
I got the same things you did, so
I probably could boot up the game right now and like look through the clues I have.
Nah, it's not worth it.
I don't need to do that.
So if you like those kind of games, this game is for you.
Go for it. I would say a rating of, I would say like 4 or 5.
Okay. I'd say a personal rating of 0 out of 10. But a fair rating of like, I'd say like 6.
6, yeah.
6 or 7, because, you know, even though it was not my jam, I think the game was, other than the camera, very well put together. The characters were characterized.
I mean, the movement was a little weird too, but I mean,
for what it was supposed to do, I'd say I think it did a pretty good job.
It was a pretty good job,
in my opinion. You can have a different opinion, but like, because you obviously played it, but I think that from my outside like pants peeing perspective, I think it did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna go with
objectively
a 4.
Okay.
4 or 5.
So 4 from you, about 6 from me. As somebody who doesn't like these kind of games. I guess my method is if I like it less, it's probably a better game.
Yeah, I guess.
But any closing thoughts before we take off?
Nope.
No? All right. Well, pick up Saturnalia now. And our next game is going to be... What's our next game?
Hob.
Appears to be an adventure game, so it's not going to be terribly terrible. I am looking forward to it. It says it's going to be about 10 hours in the
hopefully
in the old thing.
Oh yeah, final thoughts with Saturnalia. I did have one. I remember most of the gameplay is you just walking around the town, by the way.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
to be
what
expected.
Most of the gameplay is going to be.
If you like
trying to find your way around the town. That's it.
If you like
the gameplay.
If you like Soma, if you like what is it called?
Yeah,
Amnesia, The Dark Descent, you'll love it.
It is that kind of game, but
you'll
with
absolutely love this game.
With also the like detective-ish stuff, because I don't think those two games had.
No, not really, but
detective.
Yes, at the same time. So
yeah, I don't know. I never played them.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Have a great night, and we'll see you on Hob. Good night.
See you guys later. Bye bye.